I'm going to bring this meeting of the Lawndale City Council to order. I'm going to ask the city clerk to give the roll call, please.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Kearney.
Here.
Councilmember Cuevas.
Here.
Councilmember Suarez.
Present.
Councilmember Talavera.
Here.
Mayor Poland Miles.
Here.
All members are present.
Okay, thank you, Madam City Clerk. Next, we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilwoman Cuevas, followed directly by Pastor Matthew Harbison from Lawndale Westland Church.
Please stand. Your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing.
Gracious God, we thank you for the opportunity to gather here today as a city. We thank you for the opportunity to exercise democracy. We ask that we would be wise in our words, we would be respectful to one another, and this would be a chance where we can hear one another civilly and we can be able to participate in this practice as we are all here for the city and the benefit of the city and the welfare of the community. May we truly be a community. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend, for those words of inspiration. Let's hear from our captain from the LA County Sheriff's Department, Captain Palomino, Public Safety Report.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, esteemed members of the City Council, and members of the community. I'm Nicole Palomino, the captain of South Los Angeles Station, and I will be presenting the Public Safety Report for March 17th through April 7th. And I will begin by discussing our notable arrests and investigations. So to begin, on March 28th at approximately 6 p.m., deputies responded to the area of 168th Street and Condon Avenue regarding a vandalism in progress call for service. Deputies located 4 male subjects who matched the description provided by the informant and detained them pending a vandalism investigation. All of the subjects had black spray paint on their hands, and a can of black spray paint was recovered from the ground where they were standing. The deputies also observed that the name of the local gang, Lawndale 13, was written in fresh spray paint on the wall near the railroad tracks. All 4 subjects were arrested for felony vandalism, and only 2 of them were residents of Lawndale. And then on April 2nd at approximately 4 a.m., detectives from the Sheriff's Department's Transit Services Bureau, also known as TSB, served a search warrant at the 4600 block of 164th Street in the city of Lawndale. The search warrant was served in connection with an investigation regarding an individual who made criminal threats of violence against LA Metro employees who were working on the railroad tracks. TSB detectives located and arrested a male adult suspect for felony criminal threats, and that investigation is still ongoing. And then regarding our traffic-related incidents, Motorcycle Traffic Enforcement Deputy Morales issued approximately 42 traffic citations during the reporting period for various vehicle code violations, such as failure to stop at a stop sign, failure to stop at a red traffic light, and speeding. And then lastly, to remind everyone, our next Neighborhood Watch meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, April 16th at 6 p.m. at the Harold Hoffman Community Center located at 14700 Buren Avenue in Lawndale. And everyone from the community is invited and encouraged to attend. And I want to remind you that this is a fantastic opportunity for Lawndale residents to gather and discuss important public safety issues with local law enforcement and other community members. And I hope to see you all there. That concludes my report, and I would be happy to answer any questions the council might have.
Are there any questions of the captain's report? Seeing none. Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
Next up, let's hear from the Los Angeles County Fire Department, from Assistant Fire Chief Brian Kane.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. Assistant Chief Brian Kane, Los Angeles County Fire Department, with your public safety report for the month of March. I'm happy to report a very quiet month for Lawndale in this reporting period. We had 206 calls for service. 153 of those were EMS related. 75 of those required ALS interventions by our paramedics. There are no fires to report for this reporting period, and we had 6 responses by the Advanced Practitioner Unit within the city of Lawndale. That is the end of my public safety report, and I'm free to take any questions if you have any.
Thank you. Are there any questions of Assistant Chief report? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so this is the moment we all been waiting for. We got a couple of recognitions for 3. If all 3 of them are present, there's actually more than 3, but some are not present tonight. Members of our community who served distinctly on the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee. If you're here, when you hear your name, if you stand up and join us by the podium, Louise Karen Gomez, Maria Pitch, and Christine Salvador. Christine Salvador.
The lady come out, I know she's coming here now.
I think that's Maria. Oh, yeah. Okay. Please join us.
You want to join us?
You want this?
Hello, in my best deep voice. No, thank you. No, go ahead. Are you Maria? Yes. All right, Maria. And I will hold this one because I'll read it. I want you guys to face the audience. Yeah. You guys must be new. You guys new to our presentations. Okay. Louise Karen Gomez, in recognition of your dedicated service to the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee, November 6, 23 to February 28, 2025, and yours from March 18, 24 to the same date. The same end date? Okay. I want to thank. Is Christine Salvador here? No? Okay, we'll put this here. All right, let's take a picture. We'll take a picture. Toma una foto, por favor. Anyone want to say anything?
Thank you for everything. Thank you for
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for calling me to vote for you.
You're not supposed to say it. You're welcome.
When you talk to me,
Did you guys hear that?
Robert.
Okay, well, on item 4, This is a presentation from AT&T on the public participation hearing date that's set before the California Public Utilities Commission regarding AB 470. Assemblymember McKenna. Welcome.
Thank you. Okay, I wasn't sure if I had to push a button. All right, so y'all can hear me. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City of Lawndale. Very happy to be with you all today. So I wanted to come back. I had come to the city last year to talk about some updates that AT&T was having and wanted to just kind of follow up on that. In my presentation last year, I gave you a little bit of history about the carrier of last resort regulation that's implemented on AT&T and all telecommunication companies that started more so in the late 90s, early 2000s. And at the time that it was implemented in the state of California, there were 56 to about 58 million homes that had home phones on our copper network. And you fast forward to 2025, we have less than 400,000 people that are utilizing the copper network. But all the telecommunication companies, including AT&T, are mandated to maintain their copper landline service. And the problem with that is that we have identified that there is more reliable and faster technology that's available, including fiber. And there are areas and customers who are utilizing home phones who have been utilizing our voice over IP service and have had no interruption to their phone service. So this bill that we see on the screen is AB 470, which is authored by Assemblymember Tina McKenna. And it's very much different than it was last year. And we'll go to the second page, please. Okay, I guess the third. And what this looks at is some of the principle, this paper here looks at the principles of the reform of the regulation. And so one of the big concerns is that Californians will be left without a reliable phone service in their homes, and especially 911 services. And voice over IP, as well as our newer technology that we have tested and that's gone live in the state of California, which is AT&T Phone Advance, is mandated by the FCC to ensure that 911 and emergency services are provided. And so the idea that anyone would not have connectivity to 911 services is not accurate, and I want to make that very clear because that's mandated by the FCC, which is actually above our state. Another big piece that I want to highlight is this is a phased approach. The way that it was communicated last year from the CPUC, which was inaccurate, was that once this regulation is lifted off of the telecommunication companies, that it is an immediate disconnecting of copper landline telephone service. That is not true. It then has to go before the FCC, and there is a very lengthy survey and market analysis that is done to ensure that no customer is left behind. And in our bill, it's very difficult to see this, but you all have this in your agenda package, that the first area that we look to transition are places where there are no homes, no businesses, no customers, there's no demand. And then the second area that we look at are well-served areas, and these are areas that have 3 or more voice alternatives in place, and one of those being a wired line solution, which would mean fiber or broadband, which would have your voice over IP. I think that a lot of people are concerned that when we say alternatives, it just speaks to the wireless or your cell phone technology, and we're making sure that you realize that that is not what we're asking. And then the last piece is the less than well-served areas, and those are areas that do not have 3 or more voice alternatives in place, that we will not transition them from the copper technology until there are 3 or more solutions in place. And so there's no change that would happen to that subset of individuals. And there's also a challenge process within the bill that will allow, if someone feels that there are not 3 or more alternatives in place, that they can then have AT&T pay for them to challenge that and identify those alternatives. And then the last piece is around transition in a collaborative and transparent process. That's where I come in, and making sure that the cities and all of those impacted understand what's happening, that we're not doing anything without telling you, that it is a continuous communication process. But the big piece is that it's not something that happens immediately. So that speaks to AB 470. and all that it is trying to do. But the big piece is that it's a phased approach that will not leave anyone behind. Those are the big takeaways. But at the same time, the CPUC has also decided, and this is what I sent to you all's inboxes, they've decided to also review their carrier of last resort regulation for all telecommunication companies, not just AT&T. There's at least about 15 within the state, but within our respective county, the two carrier of last resort carriers are AT&T and Frontier. And so what they've done is they required that our telecommunication companies send a letter to all customers that are on a traditional copper landline service to notify them of a public participation hearing. And the closest one to LA County, or that's within LA County, is in the city of Walnut. No booze, please. I have nothing to do with the locations that are set by the CPUC. It's just my job to inform the community. And that's actually this coming Thursday, April 10th. But there are also 3 remote public participation hearings that are happening on April 17th, April 23rd, and April 30th. And so if people are worried about their the transition, we welcome them to express their concerns or support of the carrier of last resort. So that was pretty much what I wanted to inform the city about and take any questions or concerns.
Anyone have any questions or concerns? Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Hi. Hi. So my question is, it says multi-year. Is there like a time frame for when you're trying to achieve the transfer over?
So it's not mandated by us. And so it's a very difficult question for me to answer. The first step goes through the CPUC, or technically the state. Then the second is with the FCC. And the challenge is that that process can be 5 years, it can be 10 years. We were relieved of carrier of last resort in the state of Oklahoma in 2014, and it took 10 years into 2024 before we could decommission one of our central offices. So it's something that takes a thorough investigation, which is why we try to focus on the areas where it's easy, where we have no businesses, no customers. Like, for example, we have a phone in Angeles National Forest for a, a park ranger. They don't even use it. They have radios and other technologies that are more reliable. So I don't have like a direct answer, I'm sorry.
Well, that was good. I was just looking for like how long it could go out, but thank you.
Okay, I'm up. Yeah, can you tell me, so what's the mission for the hearing? I know you have a series of hearings, and it's done not by you guys, but the Public Utilities Commission, because you're under the commission.
Yes.
Now, what is the goal of that hearing? Just to publicize it or to get public input?
I wish there was someone from the CPUC that could answer that more directly. I think that as they're looking at the regulation itself to understand if it's necessary, they want to get the input of the community and well, of the customers that would be impacted. So it's giving them kind of an opportunity to weigh in before they make their decision on if they want to maintain the carrier of last resort, or, as I've seen in some of the workshops that I'm going to attend, even add more stipulations on telecommunication companies.
Okay, so it sounds like it's part of the rulemaking process?
Yes.
Okay.
And they do that similarly for, like, if you want to increase the price of like SoCal Gas, or the rates that they have to go through this process to get the community's input. Most people, when they raise rates, they usually don't like that. So they come out very strongly to not do that.
Is that because it's a regulated utility?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Any additional questions? Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay. Now, this is the moment we've all been waiting on.
Yeah.
Or communications. Or communications is when you have the opportunity to speak to this body on items that are not on the agenda. If you would like to do so, we ask that you come to the podium when it becomes your turn. You don't have to give us your name, but we ask that you start with your name, and then begin your presentation. At about 2.5 minutes, the amber light will come on. You can look at that screen, because the amber light used to be on the podium. But now, since we have that screen, the amber light will come on to give you the signal to start wrapping things up. Let's have our first speaker.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
First speaker.
My name is Robert Lang. I'm on 147th Street. So here, we on 147th Street have been dodging cars on a daily basis. It's, one I had on the way here. Anyways, rubber speed cushions are the obvious solutions, not to worry about excessive speed or the damage of the car, but the safety of the constituents. Here, for some really good information, you should know that LA County is the second largest school district in the nation. They have the second largest school population in the nation. And what they did just last year was put speed bumps around every single one of their schools. Rubber speed cushions around every single one, the second largest school district. So they even did it over at El Camino, which you guys know Lawndale has a little bit to do with. So speed cushions are here. They're undeniable. The use is undeniable. And we're here to state the obvious. We need your help, because Torrance, Hawthorne, Gardena, El Segundo, Mar Vista, every other school and every other city has done it without even asking. Simple, proven solutions on 147th Street in Manziel, where there's a library for children, where there's a city hall, nowhere else in Lawndale, community center, nowhere else in Lawndale. You guys want to build a skateboard park, more kids. Largest congregation of children anywhere in Lawndale is right here. I loaded up videos 7 months ago, 205 videos. It's crazy. They're undeniable. Our street's a speedway with no impediment of the street traffic. There is guttering. There's all these other things that used to be here. They're all gone. So Inglewood Avenue funnels everybody onto our street. It's been this way for 3 years. Go under Lawndale, 147th Street. You'll see my videos, Lionel the cat. Anyways, Lawndale is the only set of speed bumps all of Lawndale are behind the community center right here for the city hall people. So there's none in the community center, but there is for these people's parking. Safety for the council members is highly recognized. They see it. The irony is astounding. Beneficials for us too, the constituents. So let's do the unglamorous thing. It's not a skateboard park. It's not a party. It's safety. Safety is not a joke. We've been here 3 times. It's entirely up to you to help us. Save a tragedy. Simple, proven solution is speed cushions. You know, who's been helping us is the sheriff's department. They've been putting dummy cars out. They've been risking their lives. Because it's nuts. If you watch my videos, you see people going, when you watch the videos, it's slower than in real life. And you can't walk across the street. They're not narrow streets. It's highly deadly. And everybody watching, just go to Lionel the cat and you'll see what I'm talking about. Simple, proven solution, LA County, second largest school district in the nation, second largest population, second largest area in all of the nation. That's what they did. Let's be like them.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Matthew Harbison. Just want to say thank you for doing the certificates or the little plaques that you do. I appreciate that you let your people know that you appreciate them who serve as civil servants, both whether it's volunteer or committee or whatever it is. So thank you for that. And I also just want to propose an idea, and that is that the representative who speaks from the library is given an extra minute if need be. She normally doesn't, but last week, it was the first time in a long time that she was capped, and there was just some information that perhaps she didn't get to share. So I don't know if that's something that she can be given some extra stuff because it's right here and it's giving community information, or if there just needs to be a second person to do that. But just for an idea, if the librarian has something to share, if we can listen to it. That's all.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi there, my name is Andrew Blackney. I'm a resident of Lawndale. A city's most important job is to keep the public safe. One of these ways that they do this is by regulating their roads, and when that doesn't work, looking at what alternatives can we do on those roads. Now, I've been harping on this for a long time now. I've been telling you guys about 147th Street. I've gone to these meetings. I've gone to traffic committee meetings. I know Bernadette knows because she was there. I don't know where the rest of you were, unfortunately. but she heard the lengthy conversation that I had with Lucho. She heard the many great points that I brought up to him. I hope that those made their way back to you guys. So if I can't get your attention through doing that, at least I can hope that we can get your attention by showing up here and talking to you in front of you. There's been multiple work that's been done on this. You guys have a traffic study. It says very clearly in there, do something to improve the safety of this street. And all of these people here, they want to have safety on their street. They don't want to have to look both ways, then look both ways again, then open their ears, then look both ways one last time before they have to cross the street. It's nonsense. I was driving home from church on Sunday, and I was thinking about, it's really great that there's a church. It's not my denomination, but there's a church right next to me. When I saw a guy pull a left turn without even stopping, without even looking, and my thought was, what if there was a family that was trying to go home from that church and they never made it home? You need to do something about the safety of this street. It's just plain not safe. There's many things you can do. As he mentioned, speed cushions. You can do traffic calming. You can reduce the lane, the width of the street to make it smaller, appear smaller so that people don't feel like they can speed. There's so many things you can do. I don't know why we sit and say, we're not going to do anything. I really, really hope that this sinks in with all these people talking to you today, that please do something for the safety of this street. It's important for your residents, it's important for their public safety, and they give a damn.
Yes,
Good
sir.
evening. My name's Eddie. I live on 147th Street. Mayor, council members. As you know, I gave up. After 3 years, everything that I, asked for, requested, got turned down. So this evening, I asked the neighbors, residents on 147th Street, to speak out. That's what I was asked by Sean. Told me to bring them. So here they are. Please listen to them. This is a serious matter. Serious. I want to see about getting those speed humps put in on the street. Mayor, you came down to our street. You've seen with your own eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been 3 years. Still, nothing's been done. I've heard every excuse. Liability, bicycles, motorcycle, can't cross over. The 3 E's, which none of that was done. But I came up with something that might work. I don't know if you want to pass this out, or could you pass this out to the council members? I think this is really good. I think, maybe you could, put those on the stop signs. I've seen it in other neighborhoods. They have them out in the street. And maybe you could attach those to the stop signs, because nothing else is being done, to help the speeders, slow them down. So I hope you listen to these people here tonight, because they're concerned. There's a problem on 147. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council and city staff. My name is Mary Linden. I'm also a resident of 147th Street. And something has to be done. I'm a neighbor of Andrew's, and he's informed me of all the conversations that have happened in the past, and not much has come of them. And I can tell you, I'm newly retired, a former city staff member myself, and I'm out walking every day. And every day I see cars speeding. I see bicyclists, cars motorized bikes, motorized scooters flying through the stop signs, not noticing if there's another car coming in the opposite direction, or God forbid, if there's a pedestrian. Something has to be done. I believe, and I can't say this for certain, but with all of my walks throughout the community, I believe that this section of 147th Street is the only east-west street between Rosecrans and Manhattan Beach Boulevard, if not further, that's 2 lanes in each direction. And it's a residential street with the exception of the school district across the street from our house, from our townhomes. I don't understand why it's 2 lanes. It probably goes back many years, but it seems to me that a very easy way to slow down the speeding and to increase safety for those of us who are walking or riding or just enjoying the street would be to make it 1 lane in each direction, which would still allow ample room for a bike lane and parking, which is very needed on our street. Also, I recently saw speed signs that were taking some sort of speed collection, and I'm curious if you know when that information is going to be available and the purpose, why they were put out there, and what the next steps might be. And this leads me to another major concern of mine, being somebody that's out there walking for an hour every morning and sometimes another half hour, 45 minutes in the evening, motorized bicycles. I don't know who regulates them. I don't know if the state vehicle code needs to be updated or if this is something that can be codified locally. They and we need to know the rules. Are they a sidewalk bike? Are they a street bike? They ride on the sidewalks. They come flying up off the street onto the sidewalk with no regard to pedestrians. Often they are young people, so maybe the sheriff's department can talk to the schools, but something has to be done statewide about these things because somebody's going to get hurt, if not worse. And thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jessica Lena Blackney. I'm Andrew Blackney's wife. We moved here to Lawndale in 2021, and we bought our first condo here on 147th across the street from the Unified School District. So we see all the action that goes up and down it every day. A few months after we moved into our condo, Andrew got hit by a car while he was crossing the street right off of Prairie and 147th Street. This person ran a red light. They did not stop. They were going about 50 miles an hour. And now, coming to 2025, we just got through all of that stuff a year ago. But I'm here because I want to point out the fact that there are a lot of dangerous drivers in the area in general, not just that one person that hit him. It's very normal for us to see somebody fly through the stop sign or do a really quick roll, and it's kind of frustrating. So about a year ago, our community got Public Works to put in crosswalks on 147th, but nothing has changed much. There's still really dangerous driving, and there's still a lot of donuts happening and racing. And it gets old when you call 911, well, not 911, the sheriff's department, and you feel like even them showing up is not helping either. So please consider doing something on 147th that will actually help the street be safer by forcing drivers to slow down and drive in a straight path and not do donuts. Please don't think this is LA and it's the way it is. I was born and raised here in Los Angeles. I know 147th isn't the only street in Lawndale, but it's the street that we see every day and can prove that it's a problem area. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Susan McDonald. I live on 147th Street, and I just want to echo some of the sentiments that you've heard this evening so far. I moved to Lawndale in 2018 and really happy to live in this community. I think I've seen some, we've seen improvements to the streets with the street painting. We had some, it's a little brighter with the crosswalks and the arrows and with the repaving over the last year. But that said, I mean, we still have those main safety issues. It just feels like it's a thoroughfare for all these people, even though it's, got the city buildings at the end of it. For some reason, people are just choosing to kind of speed through. And my concern is the kids that are walking to school, especially in the mornings and in the afternoons. If they're going to the high school on Inglewood, they're going to the elementary school near this building. I think I come from a background of education, and I think we need a multi-sensory approach for drivers because we're living in the age of distraction. So we need sensory information. We like the tactile bumpers. We need the soft cushions on the road to slow people down. We need bright stoplights to bring people's attention. People are rolling through these things, and it is. I mean, we've heard some incidences of what happened, and with the sheriff saying that there was 42 traffic citations within like a few weeks alone, that's concerning as well. So, I appreciate all the efforts everyone's been putting into this, and we've got some good information from traffic studies. So what are the next steps? What can we apply in a real solution to make sense? Because I would hate for, something to happen to a child going to school, things like that. So I appreciate your time and being able to share my thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Rudy Dangsel. I've lived in Lawndale over 30 years. I live off of 147th and Kingsdale. I'm here to support everybody complaining about the speed as well. I won't get into all the details everybody else has given, but basically I was a victim as well. Going down 147th, I was hit broadside from somebody going through a stop sign, totaled out my car, and I had some injuries. So I feel very passionate about this, about putting some kind of mitigation to reduce the speed, such as speed cushions or whatever could be done. I also feel it's my duty to come here and say that before somebody is here or somebody's in court trying to litigate their child being killed by one of these speeders going through. I think that will affect everybody's feelings and their taxes and everything that goes along with that. So just wanted to go on record and support my neighbors and everybody and say that this means a lot to all the neighbors.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council and staff. I'm Holly Osborne from Redondo Beach, and I'll be brief. You've all seen my diagram of the way things currently are on the row with the freight train and it being only 75 foot wide here with 25 feet between the track and the wall for the people that live south at 170th. Now, I'd always wondered why it was 25 feet, what kind of rule was that? And I just discovered over the weekend that that's the railroad rule, okay? So it has to be 25 feet or it could be greater if it's going to a barrier, and that wall is a barrier. Now, what happens if you move this track closer to this wall? That probably means they're going to have to move the wall and take part of people's backyards. And the problem is, when they put the LRT down, this whole freight track is going to be moved closer, and it's going to be moved at this point about 3 feet. So I just want to make sure that everybody that lives south of 170th on the west side needs to stay informed and contact Chelsea, okay? We need you for our group, and I'll close there. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Good to see you all. So with all the activity on the row with Metro and all the surveying going on, I've had a chance to talk to a lot of the freight BNSF workers and kind of been hearing interesting things from them about how they love that the arrangement that's there right now because they don't have to pay a dime to maintain anything or the landscaping or basically it's all in the city to do all the work there. I think it might be beneficial to try to get somebody from BNSF in to come talk to City Council. Just like AT&T has a rep, BNSF has city government reps that should be able to work with you guys. I mean, we haven't had no luck getting anybody to come talk to us. So I'm wondering if you as a government body can get somebody from BNSF to come and talk to the council and present and see what they feel about this whole metro project. And because basically, in the end, it's going to be taxpayers that are paying to relocate their tracks, even though they're a billion-dollar company. They're getting all these brand new tracks and infrastructure on taxpayer dollars. And I think someone from the company should come here and hopefully present to you guys, and the public can hear from them as well. So I don't know if that's possible, or they're just going to say, screw you, we're not doing that, but it might be worth looking into. So thanks.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. I wanted to come before you guys tonight as a member of the Lawndale Beautification Committee, and just wanted to acknowledge the involvement that we recently had with our cleanup week, especially with our cleanup day that we just had. And just wanted to say thank you to those that came and spent their time to help make Lawndale, look better. So I look forward to being involved with future events and hope to see more of a turnout. And, shout out to ECHS and all the high school kids that came up. I was really surprised at how energized they were with, being involved with an event like this. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, City Council. My name is Annette Owens. I've been living near the row for about 25 years, and I was very upset and disturbed that having been able to walk on the row, my daughter playing on the row, that we were told on Friday that we should not be on the row because it's private property. There are no signs that say that's private property. I was approached by an armed rent-a-cop guy who said, "Oh, didn't you get the flyers?" And yeah, I keep all the flyers that the Metro rubber bands to our fences in the rain, and nothing says that we cannot be on the row. And I reminded this person that my tax dollars have been paying for all these decades for the upkeep of this row, and we have no sidewalk. So we're either walking our children and our pets on the street, or we're walking on the row. And it was clear that he didn't really care about the fact that it was private property, because he said, well, just go around or come back in an hour. So it wasn't that you need to leave because it's private property, it was you need to leave because you can't be around the people when they're there. We've seen contractors there, BNSF people there, Metro people there. They don't tell us, when they're coming, when they're leaving. I specifically asked who they told, like, did you talk to any of our city government people, including Holly Mitchell? And the BNSF guy said, we don't have to tell anyone. I want to know why that is, and I also want to know what their authority is. Because the guy basically threatened to arrest me on my walk. And he said he would call the sheriff. I want to know specifically what our sheriff's involvement is in this situation. So yeah, I was very upset. My daughter is scared to walk. She was born in Lawndale, raised in Lawndale. She's scared to walk in her own neighborhood. I have some things that I can leave for you that I hope you can read. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. My name is Rhonda Hoffman-Gorman, and I have compliments tonight. But first, before I do, I would like to second what Captain Palomino said, and that is, residents of Lawndale, if you see something, say something. Come to Neighborhood Watch, because chances are you have neighbors with the same concerns. So a good place to start working together and keeping eyes on each other and in the neighborhood is at Neighborhood Watch. And I have a perfect example today of the benefits of having that relationship with Neighborhood Watch. So I want to start by saying a big shout out on the things that are going right in the city. And one of the things that we do so well as a city, and I include us residents in this as well, is the graffiti removal program that we have here in the city of Lawndale. We have a telephone number that's set up in the city, and I have had to utilize it as a resident. The telephone number is 310-973-3264. That is a recording for graffiti removal. My particular quadrant is being hit outrageously right now with graffiti. You do not have to leave your name on this line. I just happened to call it today by 3 o'clock, and I am so happy to report to you that by 6 o'clock, when I rounded the corner where that graffiti was, it was gone. I didn't have to leave my name, and it was attended to because it was in an area that our city could address. It can't always address some of them. When it's on Caltrans property, our city can't go there. But if it is on private property or on city property, let's make the phone call and keep ahead of this stuff. Again, the number for graffiti removal is 310-973-3264. And on that, I just want to thank Mr. Lucho Rodriguez, his team, and especially our graffiti removal team for the fine work that they do every day out on our streets. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Juan. I live on 147th Street. I'm going to say something in Spanish and something in English, or vice versa. I had a speech ready, but everything's changed since I saw a lot of people from the neighborhood here who I know don't speak English. So there's still time to save a life. Aún hay tiempo para salvar una vida. Now I know that someone's been trying to put speed bumps for the past 3 years on the street. Tengo entendido que alguien ha intentado de poner precauciones en las calles para que no haya tanta carros que pasan rápido en la 147. Put speed bumps on 147 so people don't drive fast. From the time that I've been coming to these, to the talks here, I understand that there have been people who have already been hit by vehicles, but no one's been killed yet. And I think that a lot of people say that that's what we're waiting on. I don't think that. I think that there is policies and things we have to follow here, but I believe that we still have time. Tengo entendido que todavía tenemos tiempo para salvar una vida. Yo sé que hay políticas y pólizas que deben de aquí el Consejo de ver, pero creo que todavía tenemos tiempo. Tengo entendido que ya no ha habido gente que le han pegado aquí en esta calle de la 147, pero no queremos que vayan a matar a alguien. So therefore, in conclusion, I feel that you guys can do it. I really do. And 3 years is too much already. Nowadays, we don't know people's frame of mind, especially with what's going on in the world. We don't know if, they're mentally ill. We don't know if they're drunk. We don't know if they're on their phone. We don't know what's going on in their state of mind. But eventually, something will happen. And I know that that's what you guys are trying to avoid. I know that that's the person who's spearheading this is trying to avoid. And I just hope that it doesn't happen, and I hope it's not a child. Because that's who we protect the most, the elderly and the children. So, entonces, en conclusión, para concluir, debo decirles que ojalá, yo sé que están intentando de hacer todo lo posible para poder poner las precauciones en las calles, porque lo que no queremos es que de repente vayan a suceder un accidente en la calle o que vayan a matar a alguien y que vaya a ser posiblemente un niño o alguien de mayor edad. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I wrote something down for once, and it's making me a little nervous. I'm here tonight to ask that Lawndale stop spending public money to maintain the row. If Metro is planning to take it from us and erase its value to our community, why are we spending that kind of money? Last year, our city spent $65,000 maintaining this land, and we've been doing this since 1977, when the railroad left it in dangerous disrepair. Our community stepped up and turned it into a green space, a de facto park in a city where there's very few. It's where people walk, kids ride bikes, and families find a bit of nature. But by next year, it could be gone. Metro wants to build 2 train lines through it and move the freight train even closer to homes and destroy this green space entirely. And despite the fact that we've been maintaining it for decades, we don't even have legal rights to this property. It's owned by a billion-dollar agency, and yet we're footing the bill. To make things worse, in just the past week, community members walking along the row have been stopped by armed security guards. It's deeply worrisome, and it shows how quickly this space is being taken out of community hands while we're still paying to maintain it. Metro has a poor track record of maintaining its properties, as does BNSF. If they plan to build infrastructure directly through our neighborhoods, and now we're being kept off the land we've cared for, then we need to rethink where our public dollars are going. And one more thing, there's a time capsule in the wall in the city's foyer. It's set to be open in December 2025, which is this year. Wouldn't it be great if we could plan something special around that moment, a celebration of our community's past, and maybe a chance to plant a new time capsule for the next generation? Let's give our kids a future worth fighting for and remembering. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Honorable
Yes,
Mayor,
yes, sir.
City Council, City Manager, and staff, thank you very much for your service to our city every day, especially the graffiti removal program. So we all love that, really. I was, the Metro, so I'm going to talk about Metro, no surprise there. And Metro's been wandering around the row for a couple of weeks now, and I noticed over, I think it was Friday night, that when you get to down to Artesia, there's a giant mattress on one side of the railroad tracks, and on the other side is a really old ratty couch of full size. And for all the times that Metro has been back and forth across that bridge over the last couple of weeks, you'd think at least one of them would call somebody to pick that up because it's their property. If you go on the other side, it's actually even worse in some ways on the Redondo Beach side. It's trash evocative of what do you call it? I'll just say vagrancy. But anyway, this goes along with what Chelsea was saying. And I don't want Lawndale to do it. I don't want them to have to do it. I don't want to have to pay for it. I think they should do it. And I'm going to complain to to Metro directly to do that. But I think this goes along with what Chelsea was saying, that I think that we should stop paying for maintenance of the row. And the thing is, if they're willing to leave, make a big mess, leave a big mess now that they've seen multiple times, what does it say about how they're going to treat us if they were to build?
All right.
They say,
okay, calm
yeah,
down.
you're getting in my time. Sorry about that, but I mean, I appreciate that. But they say, oh, they're going to landscape it all nice and everything. Well, look at the landscaping now that they're leaving there. They don't care, and it goes along with what Chelsea and John and others have been saying for quite a while. Okay, so let's stop paying them. All right. Secondly, I want to say that usually you're used to me focusing my attention on ridership and cost data for Metro. And despite spending billions of dollars on new rail over the last decade, Metro ridership is 500,000 riders less per day, from 1.5 million riders per day down to less than 1 million riders per day. So I think Metro should spend more money on improving the customer experience instead of building new rail. And remember this chart here. If you're going to build, Hawthorne Boulevard has 35% higher ridership forecast than for the row. Any of the row paths, 35% higher, and it's my claim that it would only cost 10% more. Now, to me, I'm a bargain hunter, as it sounds like a good deal for me. Okay, So the last thing I'll add is that there was a discussion about a letter that the city council was going to say asking for funds, and I made a recommendation for what that number should be, not 1.8 billion, but down under $1 billion, get it under $1 billion. And so that was going to go to subcommittee, and I will hope that somebody will say something about that tonight, or I guess maybe it should have been on the agenda a lot of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is David Wu. I also live on 147th and Grevillea. I also want to confirm and attest that, yeah, I have seen the donuts at night. You see the donuts on 147th before they repaved the roads. I've even seen them hit a car, and before they repaved the roads, you could see where they did the donut and lost control, and kind of you could tell it would have hit a car. And I also walk my dog at night, and I know a lot of other residents do as well, and it's quite dangerous at night. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening, I'm Joseph. I live on 147th. It's gotten bad over there.
I'm sorry, give me your name again.
Joseph.
Joseph.
I live on 147th. I've been there 12 years, but my wife's been there 30 years, and it's gotten way worse in the 30 years. You know, it's over time, more people, more cars, and they're not paying attention. My kid's been hit right there, one of the corners, and he was okay, but and we used to be able to walk with my daughter, and my kids, even boys, used to be able to walk to school by themselves or whatever, but now you can't even do that, you know, people speeding down the street or whatever. So, you know, just think those are your kids out there walking down the street, or you guys. Thank you.
All right. I know you guys are excited.
Hello, Mayor. Good evening, and Councilman. My name is Jose Castellon. I live in Kingsdale Avenue, and I would like to talk about the speeding problem around the city, and especially in 147 and Kingsdale Avenue. I have to say it's terrible. I walk my dog, and I see all these cars speeding all the time, just not paying attention to the stop signs. And they have no limit. I have seen that. In 2019, actually, my son was the victim of one of the accidents. He was backing up from the driveway, and a speeding car in Kingsdale hit his car, like really bad. It was completely total, and it was a brand new car. We bought it like a week before that. Another incident happened recently too in Kingsdale Avenue, where a car rushing a very high speed crashed 3 cars that were parked, and one of them was completely totaled. And that's not good. The person whose car was totaled, he was about to go to school that day, and he would have been killed, just like that. And I have pictures of that. I took pictures of the sheriff in that situation. I took pictures of everybody outside in the streets talking with law enforcement. So I would definitely like to please appeal to you and that you can, if you guys can put city bumps in this around and to remedy this situation, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
The role of elected members are meant to represent the needs of a community. To deny these people's voices, needs, and grievances for over 3 years when all that's being asked is for safety on the road, I can't help but wonder what your true political power is utilized for. I can't imagine excuses like financials or inconvenience to be the case that it's not being implemented. So I'd like to hope that you take into serious consideration the needs of tonight, placing safety roadblocks and not waiting for a body and yellow tape to happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm
Good evening.
also, I live on 148th, which is by 147th, and I'm very much in agreement with everybody that lives on 147th. Unfortunately, it just isn't, I mean, it is 147th, but then they also race down Condon all the time. Last night, my neighbor, somebody came in our block, which is a cul-de-sac, but once they find out it's a cul-de-sac, it turns into the hurry up and get out of the cul-de-sac. My neighbor's car was hit and damaged last night. Again, hit and run, as usual. As you can follow all the news all the time, if somebody does end up hitting somebody, killing somebody, hurting somebody, we're not sticking around. We're leaving, just like every day you see on the news. And then they have to try to track them down. So yes, 148th is a speedway, unfortunately, but so is Condon. It's almost like all of them. And there is one lady in the morning, it's interesting, she's on an e-bike with 2 kids, that's 3 on a bike, no helmet, and she goes up the wrong way on Condon to go to Mitchell to drop her kids off. Talk about unsafe. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening, y'all. I'm just here to actually, I live on 147th and I've been there for 40 plus years. And it just seems to, like every year that goes by, there's been a lot of more traffic going through there. I don't know if any of you guys, kids or grandkids, go to any of the schools nearby. I've gotten close walking my granddaughter a couple of times. If it wasn't for another driver stopped right at the stop sign, we would have gotten hit. The other guy went around him, you know, and it wasn't the first time. It's been a few times since that happened. And I'm basically here to basically support everybody that's here and everybody on 147th, which I've noticed that you guys have put certain signs on certain streets, no left turn or no right turn at certain hours. Why can't we do that on 147th and Inglewood? Keep that away from all the traffic coming over this way. Vice versa, you know, from Hawthorne to 147, because they got right through the library, per se, right in back of it. Another thing that one of the neighbors brought up, have some of those lit up stop signs with the solar system to maybe will make it see it, per se. You know, because I've seen people that from Ravella all the way down to where the library is, they're flying right by. I also see people doing donuts right there on the Mansell and 147th Street. I've called the officers before in the past, and no one has shown up at the time. I mean, by that time, they're probably gone too, you know. But my concern is, what price do we have to pay, or what price do other members here or neighbors have to pay to basically, what we want is some people, some bumps to slow the people down, basically. That's what we want, you know? I mean, like one of these other neighbors were saying that maybe someday, you never know, somebody's gonna get hit. It could be us, it could be you guys, it could be anybody, you know? So I'm here basically to protect my community and to maybe to listen to all of us.
Time's expired.
Okay, to listen to all of us, basically. And thank you again.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, okay. You guys gonna make me come down there. Touche.
Good
Yes,
evening.
sir.
I live right on Mansell and 147th. And, you know, so many times I've been just watching TV and someone does a donut and my head hits the roof because it's just traumatic. But I think that the reason why they do donuts on 147th is because they can get away really fast on 147th. They can quickly end their donuts and they can go up 147th and get away. Nobody can snap their plates, nobody can do anything about it because there isn't nothing to slow them down. I'm not sure if it's the citations that they get on 147th that's causing you guys not to do it, but I think it's just unfortunate that it's been 3 years and that people are expressing their concerns, and that, you know, hopefully you guys take into account the safety of the people you serve. That's it.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Liberto Guizar. I'm also I live in Lawndale. I have 8 years living here, which is a good city. I live in 147th Street, which I'm here to support my neighbors as well. I have a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. They can't even play in my front yard. They're not allowed to play in my front yard. Why? Because we got cars speeding. And when I say speeding, it doesn't mean 45 miles per hour. I'm talking about 60. At night times, 80, maybe 100, who knows? But we hear them. And I think is enough. And it's pretty obvious that we have enough people here to letting you guys know something needs to happen before something happens.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm just here to support the speed bumps because speeding's getting out of hand. People are cutting through Hawthorne and Inglewood just because it's the quickest way to get through. You know, beat that Inglewood traffic, beat the Rosecrans traffic, beat the Marine traffic. So it would be nice to maybe see something done. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
How's everyone doing? My name is Udi. I'm just here to support, honestly, Big Ed, this community, this neighborhood. I live off of 147th in Gravilla. I grew up on that street and Kingsdale. Yeah, and it has gotten worse over the years. I've been on Gravilla now for about 6 years. And we've had 2 hit and runs and right in front of our house in the last 2 years. One just happened last Tuesday. So joyrides, both of them ended right there. And one crashed into a Penske that was moving a refrigerator. So spring break, kids were helping out. Luckily, that whole refrigeration move thing ended before that accident occurred. Yeah, it has to end. I make decisions on when I walk my dog based on how crazy it sounds outside of my house. So school hour, can't walk the dog at that time. So if I miss that 8 o'clock cutoff, I'm screwed. And another time maybe to consider, I'm not a detective, but something to think about is there are car clubs that hang out in Lawndale, or I don't know if it's Lawndale, I don't know what the border is, but right where Ralph's is. Go check them out on a Friday night. 147th is right down the street. It's a good place to go do donuts, like everyone's mentioned. So yeah, we just don't want anything bad to happen. And yeah, support everyone here and just get it done. 3 years is a long time. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Richard. I also support all my neighbors here on Speedway Avenue, which used to be 147th Street. It's just, I don't know what it's going to take, as everybody else says, that to get it across to the council or to the city to put something on that street. You know, I know they were saying that the speed bumps were too expensive, and like you say, speed humps, the stop signs lit up. Something's got to be done because, like you say, it's, you know, what's a child's life worth, or any person's life? But I wish something can be done because it's draining. We've been doing this for 3 years on the speed bumps, and nothing's been done. And I know the city probably has the funds. They're going to build a skate park. I know that's a great thing to get the kids off the street. but I wish something could be done to avoid any accident in the future. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Is that everyone? Yep. Anyone else wishing to speak to this body? Okay, seeing none, we're going to bring it up to the diocese for comments. Let's hear from council member, the newest member of our council.
Thank you.
Frank Talavera.
Okay, first of all, I want to say thank you for coming out and being here at this meeting, and for bringing your concerns to us, your representatives. And I want to thank Mr. Rutia for championing this concern, because we need neighbors like you. We need residents like you that will get our communities together to bring these things to us. So I want to thank you. And I want to say that one of the things that was mentioned that really touched my heart was about being proactive instead of being reactive, because we definitely do not want to lose a life. So I would say that we need to do something. We need to hear you. And some of the things that have been brought to our attention as remedies, speed humps or the little yellow bubble things, or glittery stop signs, we talked about it, and some of those things just don't deter bad behavior, bad driving. So we need to find a real solution and an effective solution, and that's what I hope we would do as a council. I don't know what it would take, like to put on 147 going down to Prairie a signal light. Is that possible? You know, on this side, maybe make it a one-way street. Something where the community can't just run through. So I want to let you know that I'm hearing you, and I want us to find a solution. So we'll talk to Mr. Moore, and we got to do something. So I'm listening.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Suarez.
Hey, I'd like to thank everybody that came out. And I know there's more than one champion that have been pushing for this with the videos, with, knocking door to door. So I think there's two things that need to happen. I think there needs to be an immediate something temporary could be done, whether it's temporary speed cushions, some things that we can deter the activity. And then I think we also need to go to looking at the long-term solution. I think 3 years is a long time. From what I understand, there was supposed to be some education done. I don't know if any of that has been done. I don't know what the status is, but I do think there needs to be two things: immediate solution, and then the long-term goal of how we might look at these streets and what we can do, whether it's updating our designation for the roads and what we designate them as, and then the long-term goal, because there definitely needs to be some safety measures taken. I'd like to see an immediate agenda item for this with some immediate solutions that we could do, and then talk about our time frame for the long-term goal. That way it doesn't get off track. I know, there's been several, this was something you inherited, our director for Public Works, so I know, there's been through a few hands, but I do think that there needs to be, we've heard this time and time again, and I think something does need to be done. So I'm going to push for that. And then I'll move on to the other point. With regards to our maintenance of the row, I can't remember, was there an agreement that we had, if staff can remind me?
Yes, Mayor, Council, there's an agreement in place, I believe, since the mid-'70s, that we have an agreement with Metro on maintaining the right-of-way, and landscaping, trees, and irrigation.
But is it like a written contract or just something that's just kind of gone into just?
I believe there's a contract that we'll maintain it. Last I recall, the city clerk pulled it up. This has come up before. I believe there's some kind of contract.
With an expiration date?
I'm not sure. I don't have the agreement in front of me. I don't know if it has an expiration date, but it does have a termination clause.
Okay, maybe if we can agendize it to take a look at that and our obligations and whatnot. That
Will
way the
do.
public can respond. And with that, I just want to thank everybody that came out. I'm a big, firm believer in people voicing their opinions and coming and being vocal about it. And so I'm very happy to see all your faces, and I hope we can move in a direction that everyone can benefit. And with that, I'll pass it along.
Councilwoman Cuevas.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out, especially my neighbors on 147th. At this time, I cannot comment on that because I'm part of the 147th block that's having the issue. But my council members have heard you, and hopefully they'll take the next step to help us out on that street. I will, with regards to BNSF, could we get a hold of them and set up a meeting or for them to come out and do a presentation, exactly what they do, what their plans are? Is that something we could do?
Mayor, Council, we can reach out to Metro, which they work directly with Burlington Northern Santa Fe, and ask them to come and do a presentation to the council.
Well, if we reach out to Metro, Metro is not going to allow them to come. So are we able to reach out to them directly? Do we have a contact?
We can reach out to them directly too.
I would like to see us reaching to them directly, and whatever answer they give you, if you could bring it back to us and let us know what exactly they're thinking.
Will do.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming out.
Mr. Mayor, if I could real quick, I just want to kind of confirm what the council member said. She's under the Political Reform Act and the Fair Political Practices Commission regulations. She's not allowed to speak because her property is within 500 feet of the area at issue. That's not a cop-out by her. She can speak to you in her personal capacity anytime she wants, and I'm sure she has plenty of things to say, but I just want you all to know that she's not allowed to do it here from the dais, and so I thank you very much, ma'am, for doing that.
I want to thank everybody that came out. I've never seen a list so long in my life as it was tonight. Metro, I'm totally against Metro. I'm not Hawthorne Boulevard, I'm not the rule. I want to know build and tell them to use their own damn buses. They don't use their buses enough. Speed humps, Eddie and I talked about this 3 years ago. And, something has to be done, correct, but like I think Councilwoman Suarez said about, or maybe it's Councilmember Talavera, you can't stop the speeders. You'd have to put railroad ties in the street to stop speeders. I like the idea of, I think who had brought it up about the signs on Inglewood Avenue, no left turn, no right turn, onto 147th. Also, such as signs, maybe we can reach out, because I think Robert brought up the school district doing speed bumps in LA Unified School District. We reach out to our school district, see if they'll partner with us with some of this stuff. And with that, I'll pass it on to the mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I want to thank everyone for coming out today to express your views on this very important issue. Yes, it has been 3 years. Now, I just want to clarify something real quick. Now, Eddie mentioned that I came out and I saw firsthand. Now, that wasn't 3 years ago. I want to just let you guys know. That was a few months ago. Right, Eddie? Yeah, he's nodding yes. Okay. But this is a very important issue. So I want to thank everyone for coming out to express your concerns with this issue. And I do want to address a couple of concerns. Inglewood Avenue, can we put a sign up that says no turning? I believe that's east, because no matter, you can't say which direction, no left turn or what have you. You got to say no east turn, because no matter which way you're going, you turn to the community going east, right? My other question is, what is the policy concerning the e-bikes? Remember a few years ago, I mentioned the e-bikes, and I knew that they were going to grow, in use. In that, unlike, remember a few years ago, those scooters were all the rave, right? And many cities were having problems with those scooters, just laying them everywhere, right? When you rent them, you just lay them in the right of way. And so my question was, with the e-bikes, what's our policy on the e-bikes, and can we regulate the e-bikes? Is it regulated through the vehicle codes, or can we put some local regulations on the use of e-bikes?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. We do have some regulations, Mr. Reyes has brought it up. They regulate through the state of California Vehicle Code. The city can, I'll work with the city attorney's office, and we'll bring something back and agendize it for the council to consider on additional regulations consistent with state law.
Okay. And when can we expect that, Mr. City Manager?
We could look at the next agenda or the following agenda.
Okay, let's do that soon. So I'm in favor of any type of traffic calming mechanism that would be proven effective and safe, right? No matter what the cost is. Yes, we are building a teen youth center, which is going to have a skate park. But if we can find money for that, we can find money for traffic safety calming mechanisms as well. Leaving that and going to the road. Yes, I'm in favor of getting in contact with the BNSF railroads. They have government relations people, so you don't have to go through Metro. Matter of fact, I know someone who used to be, I don't know if he's still their person, but he used to be their consultant for the railroads. I can contact him as well if need be. Then also on the maintenance of the yard, not the yard, but the right-of-way. Now, there's a catch-22 on that. If we decide we don't want to maintain it any longer, my phone is going to be ringing off the hook, right? So these are decisions that, that no good deed goes unpunished, right? Kind of a thing, right? But that's why you guys pay us the big bucks, right? To make these hard decisions. So on one hand, you got if we don't maintain it, and they may say that they're going to maintain it, and they don't or won't, and then you have it in disrepair, and disrepair means people will come outside of our community and start hanging out, because now it becomes a hideout location, right? So we got to kind of temper that with the fact that if they don't do it, what happens next, right? But I'm willing to have the conversation with them to see what's their position on it, because I was on this council for a few years before I realized that we were paying for it. And so when I called the city manager, it wasn't this city manager, it was a couple of city managers back, and I said, who's responsible for maintaining that? He said, we are. I said, okay, there's some couches out here, right? You need to call Public Works to help them to come pick up these couches, right? And I was really not necessarily disturbed, but kind of surprised that we were not only responsible for maintaining it, but we maintain it for free. I think that if we are going to maintain it, they should pay. Then we use those funds to hire someone, even if it's our own staff, to maintain it. Yeah. Is that in the form of a motion? Yeah. Okay. I think that's, let me make sure, because we had a lot of speakers, so let me make sure I got everyone. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. Thank everyone for your input. Okay, so we'll move our agenda along. We are on oral communications. We have concluded oral communications and public comment. Comments from the council. We are at the consent calendar. What is the body pleasure concerning the consent calendar?
So moved.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Pat Kearney that we approve the consent calendar. Cuevas has seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay. Okay, will the council please vote? Okay.
Sorry, just to clarify, the motion was made by Mayor Pro Tem Kearney
Correct.
and seconded by,
Councilmember
Cuevas.
thank you.
Any
Sorry about
discussion?
that.
Yeah, will the council please vote?
For the consent calendar, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay, number 9 on our agenda is a public hearing to discuss the 2024 annual progress report and the status of the general plan and housing element. Let's hear from our planning director.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. This item is a summary of the 2024 General Plan and Housing Element Update. The city's general plan was updated in 2023. The general plan is a goal, policy, and program that guides the city's development, typically in the next 30 years. The city's housing element was approved in 2022, and the housing element provides housing policies of how the city is going to build more homes. So this annual progress report provides a summary of community development's progress in complying with the goals and policies of the general plan and the housing element. In this housing element, the city approved about 40 ADUs. We had about 3,500 visitors at the planning counter, and we also issued about 850 permits. We also worked on various programs such as the Hawthorne Boulevard specific plan update that's gonna go through, even though we're talking about last year, it's currently ongoing, and in the next couple of months, it will reach the council. So there was various activities, and staff is asking for the council to approve the resolution so that we can file this with the state's HCD. Thank you. Staff is available to answer any questions.
Okay, are there any questions from the council members before we open the public hearing? Okay, it's 8 o'clock. Well, according to this, it's 8 o'clock. Yeah, see? The public hearing is open. Are there any members of the public that's willing to speak on this matter? Okay, so it's still 8 o'clock and the public hearing is closed. Are there any further comments? Any new comments?
If not, I'll make a recommendation, staff recommendation.
I'll second that.
So the motion's been made by Kearney that we go with the staff recommendation, seconded by Cuevas. Any discussion on the motion? Will the council please vote? There it is.
For item number 9, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you, madam. The next item is an urgency ordinance for the zoning map amendment.
Before the council is your consideration of an urgency ordinance. It requires 4/5 vote of the council. Staff is asking for your consideration for this urgency ordinance because the city council adopted the general plan and the housing element. It had a condition of approval that we had to rezone certain sites that was in the housing element and the general plan, that we established a overlay zone that would allow a density of 20, minimum of 20 units per acre and up to 100 units per acre. Under the state law, we have about 3 years and 120 days to rezone the property. We are at the tail end of it, and we're asking for an urgency ordinance for adoption and it would take effect immediately. And then we can also reply to HCD, who inquired, have we done the rezoning? We are also, the planning department is presenting the rezone at the planning commission this Wednesday. So we're adopting this urgency ordinance, but we're also adopting the regular ordinance or rezone the same way. Part of this urgency ordinance is also it's a map amendment to rezone properties within the city and within the Hawthorne Boulevard specific plan, but it also amends the Lawndale Municipal Code, establishing the housing overlay that talks about the housing density. So the project is exempt from CEQA under 15183 because there was an EIR that was adopted with the final general plan. It's consistent because we're implementing the general plan and the housing element that has been adopted and recognized or certified by the state. So staff asks that the council consider this urgency ordinance and determine that the project is exempt under CEQA. Staff is available to answer any questions.
Okay, let's hear from Councilwoman Suarez.
Yes, I have a question for the city attorney. What's the difference between urgency ordinance and a regular ordinance in terms of like timeframes? Usually I think the regular one is 30 days that it goes into effect. So if you could just...
Sure, great question. So an urgency ordinance goes into effect immediately. So if you adopt it, it will be in effect. A regular ordinance takes one hearing before the Planning Commission, and then they refer it to the City Council, and the City Council has to have a first reading, which is a public hearing, and then a second reading. And then, as you said, ma'am, 30 days after the second reading, the ordinance becomes or has the force of law. And so the purpose of tonight is to adopt the urgency ordinance to beat certain timeframes and be able to report to HCD while the regular ordinance finishes going through the process.
Okay. Why is this an urgency ordinance? Like, why weren't we able to make the time frame? Because I remember when we extended the consultant's contract for it, I believe that was last summer in August. Or no, it might have been even before that. But we extended it a good amount of time, and then I had asked staff for an update, and they said it was basically ready. So why are we not making the time frame? And this was last August, so I'm just curious as to what took so long between, you know, for it to come so that it wouldn't be the regular process.
I'll first answer the question about the urgency. If we don't rezone this by HCD's deadline, they could decertify the housing element, and that would take away the city's zoning authority, our general plan. So if someone was to submit a high-density residential, you wouldn't have an authority to ask for a design review or special use permit. So decertifying our housing element is not the best interest. That's why we're presenting an urgency ordinance in front of the council. And to answer the second part of the question, right now, this urgency ordinance is only for the housing overlay. The original project that you may have discussed previously is the entire update to the Hawthorne Boulevard specific plan that had more land use policies, development standards, CEQA analysis, but we were able to break this out because it's consistent with the general plan and the housing element, and we were able to present it to the council as a standalone project. And that's the reason why we are able to move this one up quicker. And the other mapping actions and the Hawthorne Boulevard specific plan is gonna go through its route.
So when is the Hawthorne Boulevard specific plan going to come back to us if it's being broken up? And when's the deadline for that?
That one was more, there's no deadline for it. The HCD deadline is only for the rezone right now. And so that's why we so under the original plan, there was like 3 or 4 separate actions. The first one is a mapping amendment to rezone. And then the second is an amendment to the Hawthorne Boulevard specific plan. The third one is an amendment to the municipal code. And then the fourth one is the CEQA analysis. Because there was 4 separate actions in it, we were able to break it out and bring one action to the council.
But why was it broken out so late I would have thought we would have tried to look at the beginning of the year and say, okay, this has to be done by April, let's get it done now. Because for me, urgency is more, something unexpected happens, that kind of, and I get that we have to approve it. I'm not opposed to that part. My part is just, letting it play out in the order that it should have played out, which is, here's our deadline. How do we make sure we meet that deadline, knowing that it's going to take at least 2 months for it to play out? So I guess that's my question, is why wasn't it broken out sooner? Because I remember asking staff specifically about zoning, because I had people asking me, oh, when is it going to be updated? I'd ask, and they said, oh, yeah, it should be coming shortly. Time kept going on. So to me, it just, I'm not sure why it took so long for that component to be done. But that was just a question I had. I'll move along.
Let it get this worked out first. Okay, Councilwoman Suarez, thank you for those comments. My comments is along those lines as well. I understand your response to what makes this an urgency ordinance. But I think an urgency ordinance is exactly that. It's urgent. Let's say if the state passes a rule that conflicts with the timing of the notice for a regular ordinance, that makes it an urgency ordinance. That's an example. I don't see why this is I understand what are you saying, but I don't understand why this is an urgent ordinance, because it doesn't allow the public enough time to weigh in. Unlike the regular ordinance pattern, it allows for, on the public response.
Mayor, Council, let me help you out a little bit on this and help Peter. So you asked the question, Councilmember Suarez asked why it took so long. The specific plan is not ready. The consultant added it. We were trying to bring it all together, but we had to hold the specific plan up because we need to redo some of the land uses in there. They're not consistent with the overall comments we heard from the Planning Commission, the community input. There were some things in there that we have to look closely. We were trying to bring that all together. Then a letter came from HCD. HCD sent a threatening letter. This is the first time in my many years in land use where HCD's flexing their new policing power muscle. So we worked with the city attorney's office. They were a little delayed in ComDev, community development. So we need this adopted. Otherwise, if this urgency ordinance is not adopted, we won't meet the deadline. And then they will have builder's remedy could come forward, or someone can come forward and just like Peter mentioned, just the proposed highest densities they want, because we won't have our land use element. So we are going to, as Peter mentioned, on the backside of this, we're also bringing the regular ordinance, which has public input at Planning Commission and will come back to council. This is just a gap stop with HCD, so we don't get decertified because they did send a letter. And they also can fine us $10,500 a day or something like that. They're not messing around anymore. They are enforcing RENA, and they are enforcing all elements of the housing elements.
Now, you mentioned HCD, that you got a letter from HCD. What did that letter specifically say?
It basically, they want to know an update where we're at on our housing element, and have we adopted the rezone specifically where we're at with the rezones. So we talked to the city attorney's office so we wouldn't have exposure for the city. We're bringing this urgency ordinance for your consideration, and hopefully you adopt it. But we also are running a separate track for the actual rezones, as well as the rezones part of that housing element separately. And we have pulled them out from the specific plan. Because mostly those, as the council is aware, when we worked on this plan with the council and planning commission many years back, the idea was to pick sites on the Hawthorne plan to regentrify it, to help create more mixed uses. But also, I'll give you an example. As you know, parking is a big issue. We need to look at the parking. I've talked to Peter. The parking's way too restrictive for mixed use. We have our old 2-car garage requirement on high density, and that is counterintuitive of what the state wants to do, as well as with meeting our mixed use and our housing element. So we had to relook at that, look at some of those land uses, and make sure we can encourage new development to come in, and also meet our RENA, because the state is not messing around. They're actually sending letters now, and they're not very friendly letters. They're like, where are you on this part of your housing element, and where are the rezones? So this is what we came up with as a remedy to address it.
Okay. Cuevas.
Prior to receiving this letter or this notice, did we receive anything else from them saying you have 30 days to comply, or anything from them saying this is your, before the final notice? Is there anything that came in?
I mean, I could check. I haven't seen anything more recent, but they are keeping, when we send our information, this housing element update that we just reported to you, they respond back, just make sure you move forward with your housing element implementation plan. That was like last year, I believe. But again, the Hawthorne plan has been kind of held up. We have the general plan adopted, the EIR, but the Hawthorne plan needs to be reworked because we got to be careful. We want to ensure that we don't adopt the specific plan that's counterintuitive to the housing element. We got to make sure that it encourages new development and allows high density with mixed uses in.
When do we receive the notice? And we have done a special meeting, so at least our residents would have been able to weigh in on or give us comments?
I think the letter came in about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We worked on the plan with the city attorney's office because we weren't sure if we could meet the housing noticing requirement. We have noticing requirements, like 20 days, I believe. So we couldn't just slap something together. So the idea was to put an urgency ordinance. But let me reassure the council and the mayor, we're also running a separate track with the housing element to planning commission that's being fully noticed so the residents can have input as well as it's coming back to council.
And in the future, are we able to retract what we're going to vote on, or is once we make a decision, that's 100%?
It's once you make a decision, that's it, and I would encourage that because we have to follow our housing element. We do not want to get decertified. They are watching all the cities. I think there's a few cities they're litigating right now, the Attorney General's office. We don't want to be on that list. We want to comply with the housing element because they will decertify us.
Okay, thank you.
And then one other thing I wanted to mention to the council, if they decertify us, there's cities around us that got builder's remedies. That's the city attorney's area, but that means they don't have to be subject to, as Peter mentioned, if we get a decertified housing element, they could come right in and then do what they kind of want.
Thank you. Councilwoman Suarez.
Yeah, Shirley asked one of my questions as to when the letter was sent. If you could send us a copy of that, I'm just curious to see what the letter says. And then the other thing that I wanted to ask was, were we aware of the deadline? Because I guess my question would be, what were we planning to do if we weren't going to make it? Or were we not planning to make the April, what was it, 15th?
14th.
14th?
You know,
I guess I'm just curious as
The Community
to, like-
Development Department, we were planning on trying to make all the deadlines, but we were running up against the Hawthorne plan. We were trying to bring them all together, not separate them out. But because of the letter and the assertiveness of HCD, which is their new muscle power, policing power they have, we didn't anticipate a strong letter like that coming. Usually, sometimes you miss deadlines, and HCD's more forgetful, but not now.
Yeah, let's probably take a look at our deadlines going forward, especially when it comes to the housing element, because RENA and all those are pretty big deal right now. Housing's the big thing. So, you know, just for future ones, if it does come where there's a certain deadline, you know, if we can assess, you know, hey, you know, we're running against it, let's find a way to get this passed so we're not in violation going forward. But those are my only questions. I don't know if you have to open the public hearing or, yeah.
Yeah, after everyone had a chance to speak. Okay. It is now, in the Community Development Director, you already spoke? All right. It is now 8:16. The public hearing is now open. Is there any wishing to speak in this public hearing on this matter? You may do so at this time. Yes, sir.
Randall Abram. I don't understand the debate about a public hearing. This is a public hearing. I see the big line, the one to speak on this item tonight. Rather than trying to find out who's to blame for having this as emergency item, let's go ahead and approve the thing so we're not straddled with builder's remedy for the city of Lawndale. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. It is 8:17. What is the pleasure of this body concerning the
I'll make
this
the
item?
motion that we approve this.
Motion been made by Suarez,
I'll second that.
second by Cuevas. Any discussion on the motion? Would the council please vote?
For item number 10, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Thank you. Item 11, a discussion from SB 79, Transit-Oriented Development Bill.
SB 79, in terms of its topic, it's similar to what we previously discussed under the public hearing, which is zoning, housing element, and arena numbers. So a state senator has proposed a transit-oriented development bill. It would change and I guess you can say supersede the housing element and the general plan. It's basically going to say if there's any transit stop, and they define transit stop, that if you're within a quarter mile, you're going to get this density and this height, and you're going to be permitted by right. It doesn't have any provisions such as landscaping, types of a material, parking, or anything. It just tells you if you're within a transit center, you're going to be approved and permitted by right. So it's taking away local control for council members to and the commissions to review these projects. So the California League of Cities is asking for the council's consideration to send an opposition letter in opposition to SB 79 for the Weiner Transit-Oriented Development Bill. Staff is available to answer any question, and staff asks that the council direct us on how to implement or to move forward with this request.
So the request is for the mayor to send a letter, right?
Opposing that.
Okay. Opposing. Is there any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Yes. The language on the letter, I had some concerns about. Specifically, I don't know that I want to put in there, California will never produce the number of homes needed in an increasingly state-driven by right housing approval process. And then my other thing is going to, I feel like this needs to go to our state senator as well. Just kind of, as not just the person that's writing it. I feel like it needs to go to, I mean, honestly, I feel like it should go to our state rep rather than the one that's writing it. And then maybe along the lines of adding, not so much anti-housing, but more of the impacts that it has on a community like Lawndale. With the recent fires, I know, I think it was at the General Assembly for the South Bay Cities Council of Government, they talked about how having confined spaces and how that can really affect fire spreading if it's very densely populated and stuff like that. So I think along the lines of our concerns about the infrastructure in Lawndale and how it can impact more housing, how there's lack of green space, and so the more you're putting in there, or more residential housing, more people, there's going to be an even more deficiency with regards to, along the lines of that, of how it would really impact a community like ours. I think there needs to be some language added in there.
Staff can make the language or changes to the letter and send it to the council for consideration.
Okay, I can agree with that. Go ahead, Cuevas.
Do we have a due date for this letter?
It's my
It's coming up for a
understanding.
hearing.
Oh, it's my understanding that it's gonna be set for discussions at the state senate level. So I'll have to take a look at and follow the bill. It was initially introduced in January and then amended in March. So I'll get back to the council.
If we can make the changes and then you could send it to us for another review, I'm okay with sending this letter.
With another review of what?
Well, I want to ask the city attorney, can we fix this the way it doesn't have to come back? And I can just read it and sign it?
If
Because-
there's specific language, or if you trust the mayor to work with the director on making the changes that are being discussed, then yes, it doesn't have to come back. Otherwise, we really can't send it out and have comments outside of a meeting. That wouldn't meet the Brown Act.
I say that to say because you never know when this is going to come up. It could come up it could come up tomorrow. There could be a move because I'm not in tune with this particular bill, but the way things work in Sacramento, because I'm a 24 years veteran of Sacramento as a staffer, this could come up any day. And if we're looking for it to come back to approve it, we probably missed the bus, right? So if I can work with staff and incorporate Councilwoman's language, I think that would be great. I do want to make it, bring it to the council members' attention, Councilwoman Suarez's attention that Senator Laura Richards and Assemblymember Tina McKenna will receive a copy of this because it says CC.
Okay.
And normally you would address it to the author. Yeah.
Okay. I'm fine with that. I think sometimes rather than sound so like we don't want it, what's the saying, like we don't want to build housing, more of this is how housing impacts our community specifically from that angle. And this is the constituency and what we're made up of, and this is how it impacts us, more from that kind of perspective.
Yeah, I take your point that we'll make it more specific to Lawndale, right? Mr. City Manager, Mr. City Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, Council, we'll definitely work with you and incorporate those comments. I know, especially with the way HCD is being, we definitely want to look like we are. We want to work like we're working with everyone and not be so, like, we don't want anything, but we're definitely have concerns.
Okay. Anybody have any more discussion?
So if you're looking for a motion with the changes, I'll make a motion with the changes.
Can we do consensus?
No, you can second it though.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, so the motion's been made by Kearney and seconded by Suarez. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the council please vote?
For item number 11, the motion passes unanimously.
All righty. Moving our agenda, we're on item 12 now, illegal fireworks suppression plan, 2025. Let's hear the plan.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and distinguished members of the City Council. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you this evening. The staff report you have before you is the illegal fireworks suppression plan for 2025. As this council is aware, every year the city is inundated with illegal fireworks that cause noise and air pollution, general disturbance to our population, and an abundance of trash on the following days on our streets and sidewalks. The city has taken aggressive steps in limiting the amount of illegal fireworks in our city, including overtime deputies here working with our management staff. We also include an aggressive community outreach noticing program, including signage, message boards, banners, and all social media outlets. And this year, we have also introduced a fireworks ad hoc subcommittee, which consists of Councilmember Talavera and Mayor Pro Tem Kearney. Both of those members, along with staff and LASD, reviewed this plan and approved it as it now stands. That concludes my report, and I am available to answer any questions.
Okay, did you go into the plan?
Yes, I did. Yes, it did. It'll include overtime deputies, aggressive messaging to the community, saying that no fireworks are allowed, And it will basically be the plan we've had every year, but with all the best elements of previous years.
Oh, okay. Okay, any discussion on the, on the plan? I didn't realize that was the plan.
Yeah, we had a plan.
Yeah. Let's have members of the public speak on this item.
Good evening. This year began with a historical disaster of fires burning one home after another, wiping out communities. LA Fire Chief stated that regardless of the resources, this type of urban conflagration is practically unstoppable and easily spread by flying embers. What is Lawndale's response to this potential disaster for homeowners? Is it to safeguard property and the health and safety of residents? Is to simply repeat prior unsuccessful suppression plans and follow a protocol that allows the nonprofits to continue to be a part of the problem? All fireworks pose a health danger to residents young and old and pose a fire risk to property. This is something I've never heard council address due to conflicts of interest. I do not think anyone needs to be reminded that last year's suppression plan failed. In 2024, 10 officers, 2 new vehicles were patrolling the city quadrants. This resulted in a reduced number of citations from the previous year when city staff was employed for enforcement alongside sheriffs. Did anyone really believe 5 cars would be a deterrent on the night of the 4th? Last year, the call was a little bit more ambitious and called for an additional 15 to 40 deputies that were never secured. This year, only 12 to 16 deputies are being projected, but again, nothing in contract that guarantees and avoids a no-show on the 4th. This 4th will be a 3-day weekend of drunkenness and lawlessness. Is there a plan to deal with this? What was the contribution of the ad hoc committee except to maintain the status quo? With the 45% tariff being implemented against China, who is to say that Lawndale lawbreakers will now seek a more dangerous homegrown source for illegal fireworks? A recent explosion in Pacoima was a result of a homemade stash. How many times has city staff recommended that a moratorium be implemented to curb the rampant illegal use of fireworks that are a threat to life and property? The moratorium would remove cover for the illegal users, making enforcement easier for officers. A recent study by the National Library of Medicine concluded that the most polluted cities exhibited 15 times higher particulate matter levels of 2.5 compared with the least contaminated cities, and were often cities where street-level fireworks were illegal for sale and use. This fine particulate matter level in the air poses a significant health risk due to its ability to penetrate deep into the lungs and bloodstream. The nonprofits do none a favor simply by touting safe and sane. The American Lung Association notes the hidden dangers by stating, personal fireworks, the ones you set off at home, can be even more dangerous because the smoke stays closer to the ground where we breathe. A successful suppression plan needs to guarantee adequate law enforcement staffing and ban all forms of fireworks. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Matthew Harbison, Lawndale Wesleyan Church. As one of the people who, nonprofits who sell the fireworks here, the safe and sane ones in the city, I am 100% against illegal fireworks. Whatever the suppression tactics need to be, if we need to give more information out, if we need to have regulations more, as far as who we can and can't sell to, if there are things that we need to put into every bag. I know the city brings by some things of what is legal and illegal, and we put those into the sale bags. But if there's other things that you think we need to do to step up our act to improve the communication, put signs all over the things, whatever you need, we are in favor of helping curb illegal fireworks. Whatever it takes, we want to be part of that solution. We appreciate the opportunity to sell, and if you need to take 10% off the top and that goes to helping pay for things, we'll do what we need to do. And I just want to be a part of the solution and not just the person who's viewed as the problem.
Thank you. Okay, let's bring it back to the diocese for more discussion. Anyone?
Okay, well, I'm glad Matt, you said that because we're looking at a bill right now, it's AB 1403, that would take off a percentage of the sales to help the suppression of illegal fireworks. So I happened to attend Carson's City Council meeting a month ago, and they decided to ban safe and sane fireworks. And one of the bills that they were really touting was AB 1403 to recover or get some money to do the suppression. And they said they could do that through taking a part of the earnings or the profits of each sale or each organization. So I know, what you just said is fine, but I don't know how the other organizations would be. But definitely, this would be something that's worth looking at. So, I mean, we all have to work together. So we can understand everyone's concern and then our concern to let organizations sell the fireworks, but so what's the give and take? So I think there is a give and take. We just got to find out what it is.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, let me see. What do they want us to do with this? Receive and file?
No, it's, you have to, staff recommends the city council review legal fireworks suppression plan of 2025.
Approve the plan, Mayor, Council.
Staff recommend that the city council review.
So it's a, by vote or consensus?
This is just reviews.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
just a review, right? Okay. And
But I think if we Robert, if we do go back to what Frank said and Matthew said, we'll have to change the language in our firework ordinance too. So to look that up too, to put in there 10% surcharge or overcharge to offset the cost of the sheriff's deputy or suppression.
Okay. Let's move ahead to
Okay.
item 13. Reject all bids for projects at various locations for the ADA, sidewalk, and access ramps.
Good evening, council members, Mayor. I'm Lucho Rodriguez, Public Works Director, presenting this reject all bids for the CDBG project. Staff advertised the project in the Daily Breeze on February 25th and March 4, following all the procedures mandated by the county, because this is federal funds. We received 3 bids below the engineer's estimate. However, staff is recommending to reject all bids and re-advertise. This will allow us to increase the scope of work for the project because we have some monies available, and it will also allow us to modify the specifications some. That's this staff report, and I'm here to answer any questions if you
Okay.
have.
No?
I have it right here, Robert.
Oh, okay. He's pointing at my screen.
I have a question. Maybe the city attorney can answer it. Was there something in the language that wasn't proper or diagnosed right?
It's not that it was improper, we just needed to make some updates to some portions of the bid documents to sort of better reflect this project, but also some general updates that the city's bid documents have needed.
Yeah, thank you.
So you want to revise the scope of work, is what you're saying?
As the director said, he's going to be able to revise the scope of work and revise the specifications, And because we've been wanting to make some other changes, this is a good time to incorporate those as well.
Got it. Any more discussion on this request?
Well, I'd like to ask, and I don't know, I really don't know the process, but isn't there a way that we could just choose, instead of rejecting the whole job, allow them to know what the accommodations are that we need or the additions that we need and ask if they want to incorporate that in maybe in a side contract or an addendum?
Unfortunately, under the Public Contract Code, and once you issue the bid specs, the specs don't provide for that. The code doesn't spell out that you can do that. And so in light of that, the cleanest legal way to do it is reject all and bring it back. We had several conversations, the director, the city manager, and I, before I said, yes, go ahead with this. Legally, it's the cleanest way to go, but I needed to be sure that it wouldn't harm the project, and the director said that with a fairly short time for bidding, we know that there were only 3 on the last bid, so fairly short time for bidding, he could still get the project done in time. So this is the cleanest way to go.
And these 3 companies still will be invited or re-invited to bid?
Always allowed, yes, sir.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, not only will these 3 companies be able to bid, but anyone will be able to bid.
Go ahead with your process.
Absolutely. We will diligently advertise in all the available trade journals, internet. We want as many bidders as possible, including these 3 ones.
So let me ask you this. Have these bids been made public? When do these bids become public?
These bids we received them, we opened the bids on, sorry about this, earlier in March.
19th, wasn't it?
We opened them in March. Unfortunately, I don't see the date right here. You called me with a good one.
I'm just wondering because.
But we follow the whole process, received the bids, opened them, and had the conversations to update the documents, as well as because the bids came lower than expected, we want to utilize the money in fixing more sidewalks around school. There's a school site we want to do. Additionally, this helps us with the schedule for construction because school will be out and we can do a better job around the school sites.
Okay. What is the pleasure of this body concerning
If no one
rejecting all bids?
If no one opposes, I'll motion to reject all bids.
I'll second it.
authorize staff.
The motion been made by Cuevas, seconded by Kearney.
Use my cow.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Would the council please vote?
For item number 13, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay, item 14, amendment number 1 to the cooperative agreement with LA County Rosecrans Avenue TSSP.
Good evening again. As council may remember, on March of this year, LA County sent us a new credit for a project, basically. And on September 16 of 2024 is when we came to council to ask for funding for the traffic synchronization project. And at that time, council provided some funding for the city portion. County notified us in March that they found additional funding, and they're spending that throughout the cities, giving us a small credit. and they need to follow procedure, which is amending the contract so that we receive the 28,000 and change credit on our fee, basically. That is, in a nutshell, the project, and if you have any questions, I can expand on the information.
Any questions on this item?
No, but I like the reduction of 28,576 going back to the city.
That money comes back to the city.
Yeah, right. So refund.
It's a refund,
Yeah.
not a credit.
I like that.
Thank you. A refund of unspent monies,
Yeah.
because they're still going to bid it out, and we have to really wait for the final cost of the project. This is just more paperwork.
I have a quick question, point of clarification. On page 1, it says that Jefferson Avenue is 100% located in Lawndale's jurisdiction. But according to this, Jefferson is in Hawthorne.
Let me see, I can answer that one.
Yeah.
If you're going west on Jefferson, that's Hawthorne. If you're going east on Jefferson, that's Lawndale.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I've walked many years over there. I didn't know.
Okay. It said 100%, but I'm looking this up here,
It's
and
like-
it says Hawthorne.
One of the attachments has a map of the intersections. And when we were here in September, we provided the map because there were the questions. These intersections are very, not a straight line, and makes it very confusing.
Okay. All right. What is the pleasure of this body concerning
I will
this
propose
item?
stock recommendation that the city council authorize the city manager to execute amendment number 1 to cooperative agreement attachment B between the city of Lawndale and the clerks of LA County.
I'll second it.
The motion's been made by Pat Kearney. We strike that last part.
Yeah.
Seconded by Suarez. Is there any discussion on the motion? Would the council please vote?
For item number 14, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Now, here's an item that some of us been waiting for. It's the annual comprehensive financial report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So before you, you have the staff report for the issuance of the audit report for fiscal 23-24. The report was issued by RAMS, our audit firm, on March 25, 2025, with a clean, what's called an unqualified opinion, basically meaning they had no issues with it. The financial statements represent the financial statements in all material respects, the financial position of the activities of the city for the year ended June 30, 2024. It did come in a little late, just as you mentioned, everybody's been waiting for it. There were some issues with getting one of the GASB actuarial reports from a third-party vendor. It was delayed on their part, so we did communicate with the GFOA, and they did give us extensions for this. They were very understanding of that, so we did get the GFOA extensions, and we have applied for that. And we do expect to get the award again this year. In the report, you will see that for June 30, 23, which is last year's, we did get the award, so that is in the audit report for this year. So just to go over a couple numbers, the net position was just under 103 million. This is the government-wide financials, which is the entire city, including all funds, special funds, general fund. So that's the entire city. That's on a full accrual basis. And that's an increase of 7.2 million compared to last year. And the general fund balance came in at 43.6 million, which is an increase of 3.9 million compared to last year. Along with the audit report, they do issue some other reports. They issued the report on internal control over financial reporting and on compliance and other matters on an audit of financial statements performed in accordance with government auditing standards. In the report, they did mention that no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses were identified by the auditors. Another report that they issue is the SAS 19, which is addressed to City Council. This lets you know that the management estimates were reasonable. There was no disagreements with management. They did not encounter any significant issues or discrepancies during the audit, and that everything went smoothly, and that our staff was cooperative as well. A third one that was issued was the report on compliance for the U.S. Department of Treasury coronavirus State of Local Fiscal Recovery Funds Program, requirements for an alternative CSL FRF compliance examination engagement. And this one takes place of a single audit. This report is fairly new. It came about because of the ARPA funds. Because ARPA fund was the only reason that would kick us over the $750,000 requirement for a single audit, they made an exception that they could do some basic procedures, and so they've issued this report. Again, there's no findings found by the auditors as well, so it's a clean report on that one as well. And then finally, they issued the agreed upon procedures applied to the appropriations limit prescribed by Article 13B of the California Constitution. This is the GAN limit, issued on March 19 with no issues noted as well. That concludes my report. This is just a receive and file, but happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions on this report? Okay, without objection, we will receive and file that report. Let's have item 16. Award of professional audit service agreement contract.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council again. So as we mentioned, the audit was just completed, and that was their 5th and final year of the contract that they were under for Rogers, Anderson, Malati, and Scott. They've been, this is their 5th and final year. So we did go out we issued an RFP to go out, see what other bids we can get, what other firms would be able, would submit a proposal. We sent it to 6 and plus our current auditors, so 7 in total, and it was also on the website as well. We only received 2 responses back. One was the Pung Group, and one was the current auditors we have, which is Rams. And one did respond saying that they could not handle it based on their current workload. Of the 2, we evaluated based on experience, knowledge, cost of the firm, and both firms are highly qualified CPA firms. They both specialize in government audits, and Rams came in with a better pricing. Rams came in at about $50,190 for the 1 year, and then Pung Group came in at a total of $70,000 for what would be the next 25-26 or 24-25 fiscal audit. So just based on that, the price difference was way too much, in my opinion, to make the change. So we are recommending that City Council approve a 5-year contract with Rams, the Rogers, Anderson, Malati, and Scott.
Okay. Is that the end of your report?
Yes.
Any discussion?
I'm good with that. Okay. You need a motion?
Certainly.
Okay, I'll make a motion to go to staff recommendation.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
You ready to read it?
Nope.
Okay, good.
Even though I know you would love to read it.
I would love to read it. But no.
The motion's been made by Mr. Pat Kearney, seconded by Shirley Cuevas. Any discussion on the motion? If not, will the council please vote?
For item number 16, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you, Madam City Clerk. Number 17, the city website agreement.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. So this is the city contract with Intrado Interactive Services back in March 2020 to create the city website and provide annual hosting, maintenance, and support on an ongoing basis. This support was provided by a company called Power School. The staff report is for the support services of the website, as the initial 5-year agreement has now expired. Annually, we have been paying $4,800 with no increases for the initial 5-year contract term. And now as the contract is up, we received a one-year quote for $5,280, which is a $480 or 10% increase. We inquired about a longer-term contract. They gave us a proposal for a 3-year contract. It's the same price for the first year. It's like $5,257.60 with annual 6% increases for the next 2 years. And so that's locked in, and the total comes out to $16,738. Why I requested that is because with the one-year contract, they said going forward, it's going to be a minimum of 8% increase. It could be more if we don't lock in the 3-year deal with them. So that's what, the saving isn't much, but at least it gives us some, some safety if we know what it's going to be for the next 3 years, and we're not going to be hit with a surprise. So staff recommends that City Council approve the 3-year agreement with Power School for $16,738.10. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that report. Just an observation here. Is this the Power School? I recognize that name.
Yes, it's going to be with Power School, yes.
The reason why I recognize the name, at least I think I recognize the name, is because in school, if you have a student, you can check the grades on, I think it's Power School. It's Power School, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this the same thing? Same company?
I do not know that. I don't know.
Oh, just wondering. Also, another observation, customer contact. You have Matthew on here. There was our old assistant, our former assistant city clerk.
On the agreement itself? Or?
Yeah. No, on the Power School proposal.
Oh, okay, that must have been on their side of it.
Yeah.
I can have them correct that.
Yeah, have them correct that. Okay, so what is the pleasure of this body concerning this proposal?
Frank and I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Have we researched to see if there's any other company that could help us with the site, and if it would be a little bit less, or is this the lowest bid that we have?
So I discussed with Beckham, our IT. He said basically another company would not be able to perform it because they're the company that created the website for us, and so they know how the website works. And to look at another, they'd have to basically recreate the whole website, so we'd get into a whole issue of more cost and recreation of a website.
Okay. When this expires, are we able to look and see if we recreate our monthly fees might be a little bit lower, or yearly fees? So for the next contract, maybe we need to look and see if we could revamp our webpage.
I mean, definitely we can take a look at that to see if we want to make that change. But
And we should look for a company or a website that could be transferred from one company to another.
Yeah. I mean, in talking with him, my understanding is that usually every firm kind of creates the website a different way to that they have the expertise of how it's created. I don't really understand it, the background of it all, but he said usually whoever creates it, nobody else really will be willing to take it over as far as maintenance of it.
Okay, thank you.
That's just kind of how the IT side of it works, I guess.
Thank you.
Mr. Talavera.
Okay, well, my question was the one that you asked, Mr. Mayor, was that, because Power School, did sound familiar to me, and we've used it in school districts. So I don't know if the name is sort of misleading, if it's actually a school district-based, or if that's their specialty. But as I've looked at other city websites, I find ours to not be very as attractive. So, and maybe a little harder to maneuver, like to things that we need to, that the public would want to know. So I thought it was a good idea. I think I was speaking with Diane, to have on our website the name of our state and federal representatives. So after searching and searching, we actually finally did find them, but it wasn't very accessible. So do they have the expertise to like bring us forward on improving our website?
I guess I have to look into that and get back to you. I do not know at this point what they can do or what additional cost that would be, if any.
Mayor, Council, just a background, because Harant wasn't here. We just updated our website only a couple of years ago. It was a drastic improvement from the previous website, if the council and mayor recall in the public. But we definitely could talk to the firm about updating it, making it more accessible. And I think what Harant was getting to, that's proprietary, so they don't like to, remember that was the issue with the other one. I know the council would want to see it updated because it was really outdated. And we're glad we have what we have, but we definitely could look at improving it because we could always improve the website access.
Torres.
My question is that in the future, when we update our, what was it, what were we using, Citizen Serve, City Serve for the internal softwares that we use, at that point, is it appropriate to update the website to integrate those systems if there is a, like a, how do you say it, a customer-facing side, such as making payments online and permit fees and anything else that the public may need to put requests in? At that point, would it be appropriate to update the website? And would we need to if we were to integrate some of those software systems?
Yes, so we, depending on what software is finally, it's a citywide software and determined by the, finalized by the council, we would definitely have to update the website. We would talk to the contractor, or the vendor, and then we would include that, the interface with the public. So it includes some updates to our current website, definitely, especially the interface with the community, tracking their projects. We heard council wants that, and the residents and the community, and also other things online, like payments online. We would love to do that. I mean, we want to get that all updated. So yes, the website would have to be updated. And then at that time, we'd approach the vendor for those updates.
Do you think it would be appropriate then, if we're going to make a big move like that, would it be done in the next 3 years? So that we wouldn't hold us to this, even if, like, I guess I'm wondering how long that process will take.
We're working on, I understand from Harant, we gotta, and the other departments are working on the RFP to get out. And then that process could take another year or so. And then running the software, picking a software and then testing it, could take more
Maybe
than
like
a year.
2 years?
Yeah, probably, most likely, to be safe.
Okay, I'm just kind of wondering how those would work in tandem. Yeah, those are my questions, thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so what is the pleasure of this body concerning this item?
I'll motion to proceed with staff recommendation.
The motion's been, you second it? The motion been made by Cuevas, seconded by Talavera, that we go with staff recommendation. Any discussion on the motion? Will the council please vote?
For item number 17, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Item 18. Reports and meetings. Any council member want to share any reports?
City manager's report.
City manager's report. I always skip the city. I always skip the city manager. For some reason, I don't know.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Mr. Jason with the CSD is going to provide an announcement to the council.
Okay, all right. Do we need to sit down or stand up?
I'll stand. Thank you very much. Jason Minner, Community Services Director. And I just wanted to hop up here real quick and not to split hairs, but make sure everyone on the council and the public watching at home had their invitation to the upcoming egg hunt this Saturday. And I thought that I would give everyone a sneak peek at what they might find at the egg hunt. So pay attention.
I need to put my
Is that
glasses
gold?
on.
Bullions?
Oh.
Oh, the golden eggs.
The mythical golden eggs, they do exist, and they will be there on Saturday, either at Jane Addams Park or at William Green Park. All the fun starts at 9:30. If you are aged 7 and under, you will be at William Green Park. If you're aged 8 to 12, you will be at Jane Addams Park. And we look forward to everyone in the community coming out and having a great time with us for this year's egg hunt. Thank you very much.
Hey, wait a minute, I have a question.
I have a question too.
Oh, Bernadette, go ahead.
Well, my question wasn't about the egg hunt. It was about the community center in the room. Are we giving the exciting news? Rentals?
That's not part of,
Jason, Jason, we can provide an update if Jason wants to bring that up. Go ahead, Jason, go ahead, let the council.
Should we wait?
I was taking egg hunt related questions, but I'm happy to announce that yes, we are starting the rental program. We have taken at least 2, if not 3 different rental opportunities. I think the first one will start in May. We also have open hours on Saturday mornings where we'll be having classes, either kickball or our folklorico dance program, some dance classes, gymnastics as well, and then rental program will start on Saturday. So we're looking forward to having rental opportunities Friday evenings and Saturdays, both in our meeting rooms and in the event room upstairs.
Thank you.
and I like the 2 puns you just used when you came up there. Hopped up here and splitting hairs. That was good for Easter. I was the only one that got it. Thank you.
Then he missed the other 2.
I missed all of them.
I'm all ears. Go ahead.
Okay, there you go.
Is that it? Anything else?
Don't lay the eggs there,
I
okay?
had a question. Are the rental fees posted on the website?
Man, we're talking about an egg hunt, but are the
I
rental
know.
fees? I believe there's a fee schedule that's posted. We do have a process where we invite all applicants to submit their application, and we will confirm whatever the fees are within, I think, a 10-day business day period, just to make sure we cover everything. Sometimes a rental, if it's over 100 or more, if there's alcohol, will include security from the LA Sheriff's Department, kitchen fees, things like that. So while the fees are posted, we do want to ask the public to hold off on, sending us any money until we're able to confirm that they're paying the exact amount. That includes deposits as well.
Thank you.
Speaking of events, Hope and Confidence, a cash donation event, is having a benefit event at the community center on June 7th. This is for cancer and wig solutions. The event is going to be held June 7th at the community center, right?
So far, they have submitted their application. We have reviewed it. It's in the review process so that we can make sure that we confirm with them their dates and their times and all of the logistics that go with it. Normally, we don't like to commit until they come in and do a walkthrough, so we have a good understanding that we know exactly what they're going to get and they know exactly what we're offering. But yes,
Well-
that is one of our pending applications.
Okay. It says from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. So you heard it from me first.
It is not an approved event as of yet, but we are working with the applicant and we
Well,
hope
they have
to
a
bring-
flyer, and they're distributing it to folks.
Okay. It is not an approved event.
But I want to go back to the eggs. Exactly where would those eggs be at?
You'll have to find out on Saturday.
I know which part, but exactly where in the park?
Well, it wouldn't be an egg hunt if I told you where they were.
I'll hold them for you.
What a help you are.
They're not mine,
No?
so I can't give them to you.
All right. Thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Thank you for yielding your
And
your time,
community
Mr. City
center
Manager.
report that wasn't scheduled.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, and again, I just want to thank CSD for getting all the operations back up. I know the council, that's been a priority, and we are very pleased that Jason and the staff were able to make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Let's have the items from the city council members. Mr.
Okay.
Talavera.
Well, I attended the ad hoc firework committee, that was on March 18th, and then on the 19th, I attended the Los Angeles County Economic Development 88 Cities Summit in Torrance, which was very interesting. On Thursday, on the 20th, I attended the Carson State of the City celebration. Carson has a lot of plans that I'm sort of envious about. So it was very entertaining also. And then that same evening, in that evening, I attended the Lawndale Elementary School Board meeting, and it was received very well by Bonnie Coronado. I had a good time there, and saw some of the students from, what school was it? I forgot the school. But they were doing, I think it was their dual immersion program that they had. So that was good. And then on Thursday, March 27th, they attended the SBC COG 30th anniversary celebration. Very interesting also. And then on April 3rd, I completed my introduction and informational meetings with the city department supervisors. My last meeting was with Sean and Raylette, and we had a good conversation. Again, I thought the meeting was only going to be an hour, but it lasted about 2 hours and a half, and received a lot of information, and I'm happy to have that conversation with them. And finishing that meeting, I had an impromptu meeting with the directors of ISMOA and our library manager, Michelle Pino. And today, at lunchtime, I had lunch with the seniors. And Pat was there, and we had a good time, and it's really exciting to be there. And I want to commend Jason and his staff for all the job they do there. They're very happy, the seniors, when they get there, and so I just want to thank him for giving us such a great program for them. So I call them the seniors, but I forget that I'm a senior too. So it's sort of strange there. And also, the last thing I just want to say again, I want to bring up about the proposal that I stated last council meeting about establishing a Hispanic Heritage Month celebration. And I hope that my fellow council members would support this proposal, and to be held during the month of September, as it's National Hispanic Heritage Month. So some people had said that I was trying to divide the city, but I'm not trying to divide the city. I'm just trying to help us recognize our demographics in our city, our current demographics, who our city members are, and appreciate them. And it's more than throwing a mariachi band in the parade or throwing a mariachi band in a program. So I think we've contributed a lot to our city. Some of you have probably seen in the community center, the very first picture I think that's on the wall is a picture of a dry cleaners. Have you seen that? Have you noticed that? That picture is actually that church that's on the corner of 147th. That dry cleaners, the church that my family and 3 other families from Lawndale founded, and is of the first Spanish congregation in Lawndale. And that was in 1967. So we took that building, changed it from cleaning clothes to cleaning souls. So we've done a lot of work here in Lawndale, and I just want us to contribute, to acknowledge, and I hope that we can get this going. That's all I have.
Very good.
Thank you.
Cleaning clothes to cleaning souls. I like that. Let's hear from Councilwoman Suarez.
I just had a couple. I as well attended the General Assembly for the South Bay Cities Council of Government on March 27th. Fun fact, the COG was instrumental in maintaining the 310 area code. They did try to change it to 424, but the COG was instrumental in pushing back against that. And then the other, last Friday, I attended a Measure A, it was like a webinar session, and it kind of went over what to expect and how the local solution funds were going to be implemented. Long story short, 15% of the measure will go to some cities directly or to the Council of Governments, who will then implement, have an agreement with the county on how to spend those funds. So that's definitely something that we need to be on the lookout for. And not just the local solutions fund, but from what I understand, there's other funds that also help with prevention. So for example, if you need help with rent or maybe move-in costs, there'll be funds for that as well. And just to express my regret, I will not be able to make the egg hunt. Unfortunately, I do have to work. But, you know, I may the best egg hunter win, and I'll pass it along.
You got a book there?
All right, ready?
Yeah,
All
go,
right.
go ahead.
On the 18th of March, I attended
James.
I was online for the annual budget and legislative town hall with Assembly Member Tina McKinner. She went over the California state budget. Very interesting. On 3/22, I picked up trash on Hawthorne Boulevard with our city clerk. It was a nice walk. We found a lot of things that should not be on our streets. I even had beer on my shoes at one point.
We did too.
And I want to see if we could, I don't know if we could implement it, but have our businesses on Hawthorne Boulevard clean up in front of their space. There's a lot of, like, for example, Jack in the Box. There's a trash can in the corner by the bus, but we found all the junk on the floor by their parking lot on the sidewalk. So I don't know if there could be a way that we could tell the businesses, you know, once a week or twice a week, just clean up your part of the sidewalk. And also educate our people again, or our residents again, that there's trash cans. There's no need to miss the trash can. It's like 50 feet from the trash can, you find, well, you think of whatever, you find it there. So it's something I would like to see is for the businesses to take ownership of their sidewalks. So I don't know if we could do anything to put the word out there that they should be cleaning.
We'll talk with staff with MSD, and then we'll come up with something, and then get out some outreach to the businesses, and then maybe a PSA to let people know that, please, if they see if they have trash, they use the cans.
I mean, the trash cans are on Hawthorne, you know. Not only Hawthorne, is, you know, we also did some residential, or one piece of a residential area, or at least I did, and there's trash on the sidewalk. Basically, they open their car door, and instead of taking it to their home, they leave it on the curb. So, I mean, we're trying to beautify our city, so pick up your trash, people. Thank you. Jason beat me to the punch. I was going to announce the Easter egg hunt, both at Jane Addams and William Green. And also that same day, on the 12th, the library is having the Library Fest from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So in case you did not see their flyers, please come and join the library. There's going to be a lot of things for our kids and young adults. So the library is 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So you go to Easter egg hunt at 9:30. You finish the Easter egg hunt and bring your kid to the library. It's another celebration day. So we hope to see everybody out here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
I have a list.
Sorry, I forgot something.
Okay, go ahead.
Because of what's going on in the economy, is there any way that we could get or receive information on our investments? Are they going down, or are we stable? So it doesn't have, I don't need an answer today, but maybe next meeting if we could get some type of report.
Mayor, council, we could put that on and bring you something.
Can I just chime in? The quarterly investment report will probably, we just ended March, so probably next meeting I'll have the quarterly report up.
But it's not affecting what just happened in the market, correct?
Yeah, because that'll be as of March, but then I can kind of discuss where we're at.
Yeah, if you could give
I
us a
could
little
discuss like a
update.
current state of where we're at with our
Yeah.
investments as well. I'll include that too.
That would be great, thank you.
problem.
You done?
I'm done.
Okay. I also attended the fireworks booth with Councilmember Talavera. I made a cameo at the Contract Cities Board meeting. I flew in, Bernadette flew, no, I flew out, Bernadette flew in. I attended the Carson State of the City with the mayor and Councilman Talavera. I also participated in cleanup day, and I found somebody did a whole oil change on their car and left it in the baggie. I picked that up, and then I found either a weapon of mass destruction or a golf club for a leprechaun, because it's about this big. It was like a little golf club. I attended the school side council at Lucille Smith, and they're talking about bringing back, I don't know if any of you participate or watch, they have a bicycle rodeo every year. They're trying to bring that back. I also attended with Councilman Talavera, the senior Easter egg lunch. So like, who said, I think Shirley said it, after you do the Easter egg hunt, whatever park you are, you can hop on over to the library, like that one? Yeah. And they're gonna have games, they have booths, they have food, they have crafts. So please enjoy the library too. With that, I'll close.
Okay, so I attended the Carson State of the City address along with Councilmember Taravera and Mayor Pro Tem Kearney. I also attended we haven't had a meeting since St. Patrick's Day, right? Have we had a meeting since St. Patrick's Day?
But you might have reported the luncheon.
Yeah, yeah, I attended the St. Patrick's Day luncheon with the seniors. I also have a question going back to fireworks. So Gardena and Carson just banned legal fireworks. Can we take a look at that and see, did it have an effect on the fireworks in general? Meaning they banned safe and sane fireworks. What I want to know is it any quieter during that time period for banning safe and sane fireworks than not? Because that will give us a clue as to what would happen if we perhaps ban safe and sane fireworks. Now, if it's like LA, the answer is going to be no. Because LA, nowhere in LA can you use safe and sane fireworks. But you go into portions of LA, it's like a war zone every year. So I would be curious to know, going forth, about Gardena's experience and Carson's experience. And if you can bring a report back, I appreciate that.
Mayor, council, we'd have to, after July, just so we have to get the report back.
Yeah, we'll have to, yeah, after July. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'll save this for the next meeting. Okay, cool. Okay. So we have a closed session, two closed sessions, actually, with conference with labor negotiator and conference concerning existing litigation. Mr. City Manager, City Attorney, please let us know how we're going to go in the closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Labor Negotiation Conference is the city meeting with the city's negotiators per Government Code Section 54957.6. The existing litigation is to discuss the matter Corporu versus City of Lawndale. That's under 54956.9D1. Thank you.
Okay, so let's go into closed session. Okay, we have returned from closed session. I'm going to ask the city attorney to give the closed session report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The council was briefed on both closed session items. No reportable action was taken this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the city council will be held at 6:30 p.m. on Monday, April 21st. In these here chambers, it is now 10:11. We are hereby adjourned.